Hey guys, it's Cole, and servers have gone down for the Dragonflight expansion's maintenance, and so I'm going to be saying in this video what I'm maining, and more importantly than that, my logic behind why, which I think might help other people who are currently trying to decide. Before I go even a single sentence further, I do need to say this: I am not quitting Final Fantasy XIV by any stretch, and I've been doing my hunt trains, accepting people into free company, playing with them, raiding, crafting, working on my big project every single day that I'm trying to get out by the end of the new year, but I have been doing a horrible job on continuing to upload videos because life has been, and I'm not getting into it this video, just horrifically dark lately, which I really do feel about not uploading. Honestly, I really do, and I apologize for, which this World of Warcraft stuff has helped act as an avenue to help me cope with what's going on in real life. And so my point though is no, totally not quitting. Now let's tick off a few very important World of Warcraft boxes on how I was really choosing my main. First up is that balance is very far from perfect in World of Warcraft, and there are ultimately some classes that are exceptionally powerful and others that are far less so, depending on what content that you want to do. Unfortunately, it's very different from Final Fantasy XIV, and this balance often also changes wildly between patches. My take on it is I frankly don't care about this balancing dance of madness. I never really liked it, but I'm fortunate enough to be in a guild where I have been given total freedom to pick and play what I want, but for others who might pug keys, I would keep this in mind. Secondly is knowing what content that you particularly want to hone in on. I know for me, I want to do Mythic Plus keys, which for anyone not familiar is basically just harder dungeon content. It's something that 14 has been experimenting with. I'm so happy with variant dungeons, but I do want more of that experience which World of Warcraft will offer, and so that's kind of where I'm going with that. But I'm significantly less convinced that I'm going to enjoy raiding in WoW. I'm thinking, is that the right way to say it? That's just frankly how I feel. I've just had some really awful past experiences, which I admit is my own baggage, my own stuff, but I know that I loved M+, and so the class, how it maneuvers and how it feels in dungeon content is king above all else. Thirdly, I want a unique experience from what I can get in Final Fantasy XIV, and this is very important for me. I'm going to be doing Ultimate Come 6.3. I've played 14 for a decade. I want something new and something exciting that I can't really get out of 14. I mean, isn't that the entire reason to like play something different? It's just like, hey, I want to break the mold a little bit. Fourth and finally, I am definitely not going to be forcing myself to go into the I have to heal box. I don't want to set that expectation myself where it's like, just because I do focus on healing in 14, I have to play healer on everything, even though it is a role I love genuinely, and it definitely has I have a strong bias towards it. I'm not going to be like, I hate all these healers, I'm going to play one of them because I have to heal. Thankfully, that is very far from the case for me in this. I am so glad. Let's get into my decision making process and what I've been doing slowly, bit by bit, half an hour, literally half an hour here, 20 minutes there, sometimes an hour on a particular day, is just try all the different classes, which recent leveling boosts really helped enable me to do, which Blizzard was really smart for enabling those experience boosts that you could stack. Like you had the Darkmoon Fair, you had the Winds of Wisdom, you had that other like anniversary buff. Brilliant decision, brilliant. It got me to engage in things that I didn't think I would engage in. Maybe it took like 2 hours or something with Azeroth Autopilot through Warlords of Draenor. It was amazing. Now, unfortunately, it is very ham-fisted to just say I'm choosing a class, because when you're really going to play, you're given like up to 3, or for Druid 4, different specs for a particular class, which is really what you're going to be playing, and which spec you're going to play really has a lot of give and take to it. Like you're going to hear from me in a second. Some of them have 1 amazing spec and then 2 that are less amazing. And here with this tier list is where I realize I'm about to offend a whole lot of people. And rather than go over why each spec is where it's meant to go, I'm going to just focus on highlights. First off, Unholy Death Knight is an aesthetic that is beyond gripping and unique. And I'm not like a Wrath of the Lich King fanboy. Obviously, I'm coming in from the outside. You're a melee necromancer and you're summoning armies of the dead to attack your enemies. I was absolutely in love with this job from top to bottom. It's moment-to-moment gameplay, absolutely badass, pure enjoyment, stupidly great. Other specs though, unfortunately not so much for me, but damn. You guys almost had me on Unholy DK as melee. It is so good. If I could run an alt, it would definitely be Unholy DK. Now, Discipline Priest was also amazing. Turning damage into healing, you guys already know that I love that coming from 14. That's something I'm used to doing. It feels incredible, but unfortunately, it is bogged down a lot by Holy and Shadow. Unfortunately, I I really wish that I could clip Discipline Priest onto my main that I'm going to be listing later because it's so amazing, but the rest of the specs really drag it down. Resto Druid, cat weaving is amazing. Heal over time effects is amazing. Mobility, utility, everything about Resto Druid is amazing. But then you look at the Moonkin form with its Astral Eclipse. Feral Druid, I still think that it needs a lot of help. I think that it really needs a lot of changes, even if numerically it's doing better. Guardian Druid is frankly just my favorite tank. It offers everything that I want in a tank, and plus you get to be space bear. Regardless if I'm Guardian or Resto Druid, I need to change into my bear form as a defensive, and I am reminded every time that I don't and will never have werebear. And I realized Legion content was like 8 years ago, and some people want to be like, oh, I got it 8 years ago, I'm so much better than you, let me just use this literal skin on like Druid that you're going to use persistently. This is going to be petty maybe to some, but like honestly just the aesthetics alone and not being able to be a cool werebear, instead being like kind of like this bear blobotus thing. I just don't want to be a bear blobotus, okay? And so like the werebear form, the fact that I can't get, and then I change it into it in Resto, change it into Guardian, it was such a turn off. Now this leads me into talking about the two classes that I am definitely maining into Dragonflight, which is an ironclad decision. I'm not looking back on it, which unfortunately, because I said 2 rather than 1, made me so salty, because I know that I am very strapped for time, and so it really was like, I could not see myself enjoying the game if I only played one without the other, at least for now. I even asked Twitter and it's like, dang it, even they're split. Let's talk about the first one, which is the EVOKER. The aesthetics are unique, though I do genuinely wish they were beefier. The slender design I feel is too slender. They look more like lizards to me than dragons. Like the Draconid are more what I envisioned. Like, why don't you just put wings onto them, give us that customization option, but I digress. But the healer, in terms of its actual gameplay, is actually amazing, and playing it in M+ was a dream. Don't care about raid. I think the range will be infuriating in raid, if I'm honest, but I don't care. But in Mythic+, absolutely amazing. It was unique, flying around, the charged breath effects, the mobility in Mythic+, the macrocosmos, the expedient, the refresh on stuff, the mobility cooldown timers, the hover. It's amazing. Simply amazing, simple as that. I genuinely have nothing but praise to shower onto the WoW dev team for making Preservation Evoker. It is so different from anything that I have experienced in any other game. Obviously in 14 we don't have something like it. It is so well done. Well done. I have nothing but praise to say. The DPS spec, though, not so much a fan. To the point where it's actually a little bit of a problem. Probably the biggest problem with the DPS spec was I tried it and then I'm like, oh, this is really neat. Then I tried other DPS jobs and yeah. Oh god. The job that I'm about to list as my main is just, it's the Lamborghini, it's the Ferrari, it's the freaking first class flight and Gucci plane BS. It's amazing. It blows Devastation Evoker out of the water. It turns it into just a lizard, like it's just a lizard floating in it, and just poof. And Warlock is my main. If only Preservation Evoker was not so incredibly good, guys. This would be a landslide, undeniable victory by Warlock for me. I also gotta say, during the dark times I was going through, Warlock was a huge offset to my mind on things. And I gotta say, Kalamazi is just a blessing to the Warlock and WoW community. I basically binge watch his content and it is absolutely amazing. Now, why am I choosing Warlock? First off, I love the utility. Obviously DPS have utility in 14, but Warlock's is just really weird. You're handing out health stones to party members. That is a form of, okay, I have an item in my inventory, I get to control when I get this burst of burst healing that the Warlock gave me. Soul stone to revive in combat, coming from 14, you know how good that is. Gates to skip mechanics, shocking amount of mobility, oh yeah, and being massively incredibly durable. The Warlock skill tree reads more like a tank. You are oozing healing, shields, actives, passives for defense everywhere. Even without gear, I was surviving stuff I had no right to, and I was at 40-yard range. Devastation Evoker is at 25. Now I'm gonna cut the fangirling on each spec short, but Warlock is 3 different specs and I love all 3 for different reasons. Longtime subscribers are gonna be an absolute shock. I love Summoner and Scholar back since Realm Reborn. They were damage over time effect heavy though. Affliction Warlock, that is what I get from Affliction Warlock. Damage over time, it's amazing. I get to summon the Shady Glaring Eye. I love it. What about a different take on summons? Instead of one big summon, what about an army? I am in love with Demo. I would fangirl for 20 minutes if I could. Destruction Warlock is basically Black Mage. So my main is definitely Warlock. And then Preservation Evoker, why are you gonna be so good?